Hello, 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 my dear community. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I want to welcome you. If not, I want to thank you, and thank you for your love and support. My name is Wei-Jen, and I share my wisdom, strength, and hope to help others to attract their desired lifestyle and love. So I have my little notes here. If you notice me that I am looking down, the topic that I want to share with you guys is when you consciously decide you're going to be a leader, you start to attract your own abundance. And this abundance can be wealth, passion, health, happiness, joy, and love. It can be so many different things. It can be your relationship with yourself or others. And before I open up this subject, I want to share a little bit, about my story. Um, Briefly, I used to be a huge follower and I used to be a huge empath, people pleaser, caretaker. Because of my family background, I grew up in a dysfunctional alcoholic family background. My father is a functional alcoholic, and my mother is untreated, severe codependent. And as you can imagine, um, I become the combination of both of them. I was a people pleaser, I was a controller, I was a perfectionist, and so on and so forth. So I become a huge follower. I follow the crowd. I didn't have a sense of self or self worth. I didn't have a purpose, to live my life. And I was very emotional and unstable. I was also very codependent as well. So whatever other people, the noise or the value or their, personal opinion, right? Their comment, I just took them all within me, right? Because that makes me feel safe. And, inevitably, I lost my ability to make my own choice and to listen to my inner voice and also to cultivate my relationship with myself, my relationship with the universe or higher power or wisdom or higher self, right? I lost those abilities. And definitely there is no leadership, this word, in my dictionary before I started my personal transformation and spiritual awakening journey. There's no such word. There's no higher power. There's no higher self. There is no wisdom. There is no leadership. There is no making a choice, these kind of phrase in my dictionary, in my word, in my world before I started my journey. And I was also a huge empath. I could easily suck other people their energy, regardless it is my responsibility or not. I can just easily suck other people their energy, good and bad, healthy and unhealthy, and easily digested with me. And I also was, being a follower is that I get to wait endlessly, make myself available endlessly, pretty much my life, my energy, my emotions, is centering around other people, their center, their needs, their desire, their emotion. I was walking on an eggshell, especially when I was in an intimate relationship or being around with my parents. It wasn't, until I had my wake up call several years ago. I was with my non active alcoholic boyfriend, ex boyfriend, and I finally had my wake up call. And that is the moment, I started to take massive action to start my spiritual awakening journey and also personal transformation journey. And the one thing that I learned during these journeys is that I get to look into myself, the homework that I need to work on myself if I want to attract, my desired lifestyle and the love and the relationship. and also pursue my happiness and my joy, right? I have to go through that phase of looking into myself really deeply and closely, regardless how scared, how ugly, how dysfunctional that was, how messy it was. I had to go through that phase. And then from there, I get to learn, so many things, such as I have to learn how to make a freaking decision. You know, Instead of being indecisive, I have to learn how to make a decision. And so I started to practice it consciously in my daily basis by, when I wake up, I get to choose, okay, what am I going to wear today? And what am I going to eat for lunch today? Right? Those are trivial places that I could practice until at some point I feel comfortable. I feel these small choices don't take me, much time anymore. Then I started to move forward to expand that discomfort, to stretch my comfort zone, by asking myself, okay, where do I want to celebrate my birthday this year? How do I want to spend, Valentine's Day, whether I had a mate or I didn't have a mate at that time? And how, you know, did I want to make my day today? How did I want to make the most out of it today? So those are the broad questions that I could start to ask myself, and then also to exercise to make a choice, because that's what the leaders they do. They make a freaking choice instead of being indecisive, right? Indecision. So that's one thing, being a leader. And if you're an empath like me, right? I think the challenge, being an empath, yet at the same time decide, we're going to be a leader of our own life or of our own future with the things that we can control and we can do, right? The challenge of being a leader as an empath is that there's always a feeling of sense of guilt, shame, and that I am not good enough. Those inner chat, inner voice, those monkey minds, uh, with me, I'm just talking about my personal experience. Growing up in an alcoholic, dysfunctional, family, it's hard not to have those voices, and especially when I decided I was going to be a leader, right? How come those voices would just, suddenly like disappear? That is the challenge that I had to work on, is that being a leader, yet at the same time manage those voice that I am not good enough. I feel shame, I feel guilt, whether is the leader, between me and me, or I lead, in a relationship, with two people, or 200 people, 20 people. If I have, colleague or boss above me, colleague that is, by my side, or my students, or stranger, right? How can I be a leader in a different each relationship, in each scenario? And then when I decided I'm going to be a leader in this scenario, or in this relationship, or in this event, right? There's gotta be mistakes that I'm gonna make, because let's face it, all the leaders from the present time or the history, who has never ever made a freaking mistake? We all make mistakes. We all make poor choices, and we all face some, sort of consequences from the poor choices that we make, right? So as an empath, and then also decides to be a leader, think about, you make a poor choices and there's a consequences, and that affects, other people. Maybe it's people above you or below you or by your side or follow you, right? You probably will hear, like, some sort of, comments, whether it's positive or negative, whether it's helpful or, not helpful comments. And as an empath, I had to face, okay, those comments may bring me a sense of guilt, because I made a mistake and I let the whole team down. I let my partners down. I let down my student, right? And so inevitably, I would feel guilt. I probably would also feel shame, or I am not good enough. And then those are the moments where my negative, voices started to creep in. And so that would just lead me as a leader, that my energy started to feel being drained, and I would start to feel low energy because I would start to feel guilty and shame, and then feel disappointed, feel that I'm not good enough, I'm not qualified to be a leader. That is the moment that our energy started to feel low, to going down. And so I was very aware, through practice over and over and over. How can I be a leader and yet at the same time accept, yes, my old self, I used to be a huge empath. And then maybe there is still some level of me. I am still an empath. How can I accept and embrace that part of me? But also at the same time, cultivate this new me that I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader for myself, right? So here are the two things that I come up to overcome this challenge. One is to change the relationship dynamic, change the perspective, and also the attitude between me and those negative comments or negative noises, whether those noises are coming from myself, coming from my past, coming from other people, or people above me, below me, or by my side, right? I have to change the relationship between me and those voices. And then also the mistake that I made, the poor choice that I made, by viewing them as a very valuable, priceless lessons, by paying more attention into what can I learn from that mistake? What can I learn from that choices that I made, that I realized, okay, it doesn't serve me, right? So put more attention on that aspect. What are the lessons that we can make, and then how can we carry that lessons that we learn into the next time, if there is any similar scenario comes up, or how can I carry that lesson, that wisdom with me to improve this relationship next time when I talk to this person, right? When I meet up with this person. So that is how I would say change the relationship between us and the mistake or the poor choices that we make. Now, the second way that I want to share with you to overcome that inner chatter or negative comments from others, to continue to contain your high energy vibration and to be a leader, is to carefully filter the noise. We all want to be like open. We all want to be this, good person, that, be likable, right? Be lovable by others, have, as much as validations or approval from others, right? We all want that. But we got to be very careful about filtering the comments from outside sources, or outside environment. Some comments or some feedbacks can be very valuable and very beneficial to us to learn and to see what we didn't see before, from based on the mistake, based on the experience, right? And that is a very valuable, thing that we can hear from others. Now, on the other hand, there's also some noises, some feedback, that is not helpful and not healthy to us. That can be, criticism, that can be out of the blue, that the person may provide a feedback based on their ego, based on their selfishness, or based on lack of empathy, right? or based on how they view themselves. So when you pay closer attention to identify and then recognize those comments, to filter them carefully, you will realize and then find out that many times those not helpful feedback that you receive actually does not have anything to do with you, with the choices that you make, with the mistake that you make. Actually, it has, more things to do with them, how they view themselves, their relationship with themselves, and their relationship with their own identity, their fear, right? So just to be very careful when you filter the feedback, the comment, and the noise. That also, the same thing with ourselves. I have to be very careful about, is this noise, is this negative, voice, inner chat, is it coming from my childhood trauma? Is it coming from my parents because they used to criticizing me that I'm not good enough because I didn't get a grade at school, right? So what so is that has anything to do with me, the present me, or actually, that is for my past, that is for my old self, right? So that is something that I want to share with you, the two solutions to overcome that sense of guilt, shame, and criticism and noise that I'm not good enough. How can we use those two solutions to, still keep our energy vibration and then be a leader at the same time? Now, when we also decided that we're going to be a leader and, to pursue, to attract our abundance, right? There's got to be a breakthrough when we make this conscious choice to be a leader. And this, breakthrough most of the time will bring us lots of discomfort. So knowing when you've started to feel uncomfortable with your choice, with the new decisions that you make, whether it's small or big, whether it's internal or external, right? You're gonna feel counterintuitive, and also you're gonna feel not quite comfortable. And then also the breakthrough can also include, you know, some loss, that you don't, you stop following a crowd, right? You stop meeting, friends who you realize that they're not, healthy to you, and they're drowning your energy, or they make you feel worse, right? So you start to have a little amount of, loss, I would say. I mean, it really depends on what kind of choices that you make. But my experience, I did lose some friends because I decided I was going to be my own leader of my life. And I, decided I was going to stop being a follower. So the choices that I made in the past is that I stopped going to some parties. I stopped, reaching out to friends who we're always so depressed and always view the world, view the relationship in a very negative way. I stopped, just reaching out to them, and that's the loss, right? But after, I went through a period of grief, of loss, I came up with this, new me, and I feel my intuition feels that, yeah, this is the right direction that I'm I am, leaning towards too. Now, maybe in some other aspects, the breakthrough could be, you started to make a boundary or create your own standard in your relationship with other people or relationship with yourself. And also, for if you hate your job, the breakthrough could be you decided that you are going to set a timeline to stay in this job for a certain amount of time. If you don't think you can, quit your job right now because you hate it, right? You will start to set a timeline for yourself. And then maybe even ask yourself, what do you want to get out from this experience? What do you want to get out from this job? And when you hit your timeline, then you're going to move forward. And what do you want to carry with you as you're moving forward, right? So those are the leader, will those are the questions that the leaders, I'm pretty sure they will ask themselves. Like how, like what do they want and why do they want, right? Even the situation doesn't seem, very advantage to them, but why do you still want to stay here? Do you still want to stick, with this person, or stay in this relationship, or stay in this job? There's got to be a why. There's got to be a motivation and an intention. And what do you want from this relationship or from this job? Regardless whether it works, it serves you well or it doesn't, right? What do you want to get out from this experience? So, my conclusion of today's sharing is that, become a conscious leader, because when you become a conscious leader, you started to make conscious decisions. And those conscious decisions, can be pretty much a lot of new decisions you probably have never made before. Those new decisions will help you to create a new experience. And then those new experience will bring you different emotions and probably new thoughts, new emotions. And then when we have those new emotions and new thoughts, new inspiration, new ideas, new outcome, right? It also creates a greater chance to have more possibilities that we probably, a lot of them, we probably have never thought about it. So, in the end, do you want to be a leader or a follower? That is a question that you have a whole control to decide. You have a full control to decide, right? And, the moment when I am a follower or when I am a student, learning, study, and grow from that lesson, right? Is that I know what I want to get out of the person I follow or the things that I follow, and then also the moment that I decided I'm going to become a follower temporarily, right? Usually to me, there's got to be something that I want to get out of it. There's got to be something that I want to approach or I want to achieve. And I think the wonderful thing about being a follower is that I get a chance to completely be honest and be transparent with myself, that why do I want to be a follower? And what do I want to get from whatever the things or the people that I follow, right? And, when I think about that, I think about it with this, concept, this understanding that this is just part of, human being. This is just part of humanity. Because let's face it, let's be honest, we all have different, sides of us. And it's just a matter of whether or not we're willing to admit it that, you know? And I think when I admit it, I want to get a certain amount of things from that person, or I want to find out why they can do that, they can achieve that level of success, but I can't. So I decided I'm going to be a follower. I'm going to study them, right? I'm going to find out what is their secret sauce that they can be where they are and who they are today and why I can't, right? When I admitted myself to this level, it's going to be only set me free and come with acceptance and understand, and then also free to decide, not only that I'm going to be a follower, but also why I want to be a follower. So that is also going to set me, my motivation and my intention, instead of, being a follower blindly because I have no purpose, because I have no dream and I have no passion and I'm so scared to be different. So, that is my share today. And I hope that you find this video, helpful to you and inspiring to you. If you like my content, please, please, please feel free to like my video and also even leave the comment and even don't forget to follow my channel. Until then, I will see you in our next video. Namaste.